How many football fields are there in a kilometer? And we're given some information there about the relationship between a mile and the number of yards and the number of feet. We didn't have those on the key concepts page. In that sense, the key concepts for this particular topic maybe was a little bit incomplete. There are plenty of other relationships between units that can be looked up online or in physics textbooks or other places. But here I've provided some of that may be useful to us. So how do you approach a question like this? Well, one thing I think we need to agree to at the beginning here is what really is a football field. And I think I'd like to say that a football field, maybe could I just abbreviate it as like FF or football field? I don't know if that makes sense. But I'm going to say that a football field is equal to 100 yards. And sometimes when I've done this in class in the past, there's been some question. Is this the abbreviation for yard? I guess I don't know. But there's been some question about like, well, if you include the end zones, right? But I'm just going to say 100 yards. Keep it simple. Okay, it's a 100-yard football field. That I thought was a standard definition, so that's what I'm going to go with here. But then, how do you answer this question, right? So maybe I could take a conversions approach to answering this question, because I'm just going to start with and say, okay, we're talking about a kilometer, right? So I'm just going to look at converting a kilometer maybe into yards, right? And if I know how many yards a kilometer is, then maybe I could figure out how many football fields that represents, because whatever number that is, I guess if you just divide by 100, you'd have the number of football fields, right? So that's going to be my general strategy here. What could I start with? Well, I'm given this information, which starts with the miles. So maybe what I'd like to do, I'm going to take, again, the conversion factor approach here, and I'm going to multiply by some appropriate conversion factor. And with maybe one of the ones that's up here, it says a mile is equal to 1.609 kilometers. So I could put 1 mile up here, divided by 1.609. Oops, get to squeeze the K in there for km. Sorry, I got a little muddled there. And so that's going to give me something in miles. But then I could multiply, given the information that's right here, I could multiply by the 1760 yards, right, for every mile. And that, of course, means kilometers cancel, miles cancel. At the end of the day, I'd get some number in yards. So in my calculator, I'm going to basically take 1 divided by that 1.609 and then multiplied by 1760. And when I do that, the number that I get here is like 1,093.847, etc. Maybe that's good enough, 711, but I'm just going to put the 7 there. Sorry, the 7 got a little muddled. I like the 9's perfect there. Anyway, 1,093.847 yards. And if we divide that by 100, I think that would be equal to, maybe I could have put it up as a conversion factor as well, but I think like that is equal to 10.938, I don't know how much, whatever, 847 football fields. I'll just again put F for that. So that's nearly 11 football fields. I think I might be ready to check my answer here. Let's see how close I got. And let's see, that says 10.9385. So just rounded it off slightly more than I did. And I mentioned earlier that I'm not super picky about rounding issues like that on exams. And so this maybe I would identify what I wrote here as a correct answer. And it also said they're almost 11, which I don't know if that's really a correct answer. I'm just saying that. And somebody else, if somebody had said, well, 10.9, is that a correct? I think that would be correct enough as well. To me, like for exams, I would say like a minimum of 3 significant figures is generally my standard, because if you get less than that, sometimes rounding issues can make it hard for me to tell if you did it right or not. But anything more, I'm generally pretty easygoing about that.